Atlantis. It is a concept that we have all heard, read, or watched in some way, but is still full of deep secrets. Is it a legend or a reflection of a hidden truth behind a lost civilization? The lost wisdom of Atlantis wanders on the borders of both mythology and science. But how much do we know? Since the ancient world, countless stories have been told about Atlantis and many theories have been produced. Today, many people ask profound questions about how the wisdom and forces behind this lost civilization interact with human history. This legendary place, based on the works of Plato, one of the ancient Greek philosophers, bears the traces of a civilization lost under the sea. The description of Atlantis in Plato's dialogues. Timaeus and Critias is a window that emphasizes the importance of this lost world in human history. But did the lost wisdom of Atlantis remain only in ancient writings? Perhaps the knowledge that once existed in this world has been transformed into modern science and technology, and we still carry it within us with its effects on culture. So what was in Atlantis? Did that lost civilization really have as much advanced technology and knowledge as we thought? Or maybe it has a deeper meaning. Does it represent a spiritual wisdom, not just material and scientific? Today, we will examine all aspects of the lost wisdom of Atlantis, its effects on the modern world, and the legacy of this lost civilization. This is not just about discovering the lost legacy of an ancient civilization. At the same time, we will embark on a journey that shapes the modern world, inspires us, and whose echoes we can still find in today's society. If you are ready, we are starting an adventure where history and mysteries are intertwined. The lost wisdom of Atlantis may show us exactly what we have lost and perhaps what we need to find again. We find the first record of Atlantis in the works of the ancient Greek philosopher Plato. In his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, Plato writes that Atlantis was a civilization full of wealth and technology, favorite of the gods. This civilization had forward-looking knowledge and technology in fields such as advanced engineering, architecture, astronomy, and medicine. However, this magnificent civilization degenerated morally over time and eventually suffered a great disaster and was buried at the bottom of the sea, incurring the wrath of the gods. The disappearance of Atlantis is presented as a symbol of how man's excessive ambition and corruption can disrupt the universal balance. Atlantis in Plato's writings is often seen as an allegory. However, some researchers claim that the Atlantis mentioned by Plato is a real place, merely an ancient civilization that has been lost over time. Even today, there are many researchers trying to physically locate Atlantis, the place where Atlantis disappeared deep in the oceans. Or do all these narratives bear traces of ancient wisdom and a common memory of human history? The philosophical meaning behind the disappearance of Atlantis may actually be teaching us great lessons as a reflection of this civilization. Today, we live in a modern world with high technology, but with each passing day, we feel more and more our lack of moral values and universal wisdom. Perhaps the lost wisdom of Atlantis symbolizes not only the collapse of a civilization, but also humanity's call to regain balance. The technology possessed by Atlantis may seem like a mere fantasy to today's people. However, some studies based on the works of Plato make serious claims that Atlantis once contained engineering marvels and high technology that were inaccessible to humanity. This technology was perhaps a product of people's efforts to better understand the world, not only on a physical, but also on a spiritual level. A concept that has survived from the technology of Atlantis to the present day has actually paved the way for scientific developments in the modern world. Our efforts today to better understand the capacity of the human brain to use energy sustainably or to unravel the laws of the universe may be an echo of the wisdom that existed in the time of Atlantis. In technological terms, many scientists argue that ancient civilizations had very advanced levels of knowledge. In particular, the architecture of ancient structures, astronomical alignments, and engineering marvels. It suggests that ancient civilizations may have been carrying some kind of lost scientific knowledge. To ask the question of how this lost wisdom has an impact in the modern world, we are now taking steps into similarly unexplored scientific areas. Fields such as quantum physics, space exploration, and artificial intelligence are modern versions of a kind of advanced understanding that perhaps once existed in Atlantis. Could lost wisdom be at the basis of these scientific revolutions? The lost wisdom of Atlantis was not limited to technology alone. According to many writers and researchers, Atlantis also had deep spiritual understanding. This civilization knew the secrets of not only the physical world, but also the spiritual world. The people of Atlantis had advanced knowledge of using the energies of nature, developing mental abilities such as telepathy, and achieving a high level of consciousness. Today, it is said that the spiritual wisdom of Atlantis is still inspired, especially in the field of spiritual teachings and alternative sciences. These perhaps show that lost information is actually information that people can access, but requires a very deep inner work and reaching a level of consciousness. We are trying to rediscover this information, which is claimed to exist in Atlantis, in the modern world, especially through research on meditation, subconscious studies, energy, and mental power. This spiritual wisdom helps people realize their own potential. Thinking about what role it can play in understanding and living in more harmony with nature shows that Atlantis has not only a physical, but also a spiritual legacy. In conclusion, the lost wisdom of Atlantis is much more than a historical myth. It represents a lost part of humanity, the highest level of knowledge and understanding of a civilization. Even today, it is possible to find traces of this wisdom both in science and in the spiritual field. Atlantis is not just a myth, but also a warning to humanity. Even though people have knowledge and technology, they should not forget to be on the right path, moral values, and universal laws. In the modern world, we have the opportunity to live a more balanced, conscious, and nature-friendly life with the lessons we have learned from the lost wisdom of Atlantis. If we accept that Atlantis really existed and carries traces of lost wisdom to the present day, perhaps we can have the chance to reshape our own future by unraveling the secrets behind this lost civilization. Atlantis may have been lost, but knowledge and wisdom transcend time, always to be rediscovered. Waiting. The lost wisdom of Atlantis may be a key not only to the past, but also to the future. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, do not forget to leave a like. Hope to see you in the next videos. Take care of yourself. Bye.